Gromit, what did you think? Apa kabar? Baik-baik saja? Hi guys, I just finished watching Satan's Slave. Actually, we finished watching. Gromit stayed up here the whole time, didn't you, Gromit? Did you enjoy it? Wow, that was intense. Fun fact about this one, this is actually the most requested movie for the month. So many people wanted me to see this film, and I totally get why. It's got a Conjuring kind of vibe, and it's so authentic Indonesian, which I love. I like the fact it took itself really seriously and it was ingrained in folklore, but it also had like really realistic characters, where sometimes in Indonesian horror movies I've seen, yeah, it gets a little bit soapy. So I was really glad that they took it a different direction. I did not know that this film was actually meant to be a prequel, and I wonder if you guys knew that. There's a film of the same name that was set, I think it says in 1982, and this film is set the year before, which is 1981. So I assume it's the same thing that's after them. I'm gonna read you the blurb for the film because it doesn't give anything away, and I think it sounds really sinister. So after dying from a strange illness that she suffered for 3 years, a mother returns home to pick up her children. It sounds like La Llorona a little bit. The film has obviously a lot of spooky elements. It's set in one like haunted house, and a family that is really tight, going through loss and grief and finding out some sinister secrets about their family. I think that this film had some really good scares. It had some really high tension in points, but it did kind of dip in and out as it went. The structure was kind of all over the place, which I don't mind. And I think, again, I've said this before, I think that's what foreign horror does the best, because it kind of drops you out, and we're not used to seeing, like, you know, it's not Hollywood films, so we don't have to go with that typical structure that we're used to. And I think that's good because it's the unexpected that is the scariest. I loved the acting in this film. I thought the kids were amazing. Again, loved their characters, loved the development, and you could really tell the chemistry between all of the family. They seemed really close, and it just wasn't forced. One thing I found really weird about the film was the music. Sometimes there was no music at all while a scary part was happening, and it was just even more tension building because it's complete silence and you're not sure how to react. And other times you were cued by the music on how to feel, which was very strange. I don't really like that, especially because it was 1 second, and I don't know if my stream was just like glitchy, but I heard the music before I saw the thing, and so I'm like, oh, I'm meant to be scared now. So that's quite interesting. It's also very dark, like it's a very dark film, and I mean, I'm probably not doing it the best service watching it in the middle of the day, but the playback, I could hardly see things in the background. I'm like, am I meant to be seeing things here and there? The film also held a lot of symbolism, or like obvious symbolism. It had a lot of exterior shots of the house that they're living in, and it's like dark and gloomy. They kept using the same exterior shot just of the house in the distance when, you know, bad stuff was about to happen, and then when, you know, everything seemed fine, it was like daytime, and that was the first time you saw the house from a wide exterior during the day. It was a very strange choice, but I didn't mind it. I did read that it took a long time to find this particular house, this location in Indonesia, the right one that had the right atmosphere, because it is quite a big home, and I'm not sure where in Indonesia this is, but I think that they chose the perfect location. I'm not sure if they shot it all in the same house, but I know that they shot it within like a couple of months, and it was all pretty much in chronological order shooting, which I think always gets the actors into the best rhythm. I liked all of the elements in this film, and I'm trying not to spill too much because there's some really cool stuff going on. Obviously it's called Satan's Slave, so satanic stuff is in there, which, even though I know it said satanic slaves, when the word Satan first came up, I'm like, ooh, it seems so controversial in a movie like this that is in such a religious country to have like Satan in the title, especially Satan's slaves. Like, it does not sound kind of like what the film is about. Something cool about this film is if you go on IMDb and you look at the poster, that's actually made by a fan, and I think it's really cool that they incorporated fan art into the wide release poster. The director for this film actually is a huge fan of the original Satan Slaves from 1982, and apparently he snuck into the cinema to see it when he was a kid, and he was obsessed. And ever since then, he kind of grew up knowing that he wanted to make this. So it's a huge passion project, and you can really tell. I liked it. I just felt like sometimes the tension was just dropped off. And as much as it makes sense to kind of pick up bits and pieces of the puzzle along the way and discover more, it felt like it wasn't really blended in, right? Like the scenes just didn't all work cohesively. It's not like it's super obvious, but the tension was just really high in some points, and then I felt myself like wondering why we've gone back to being okay with what's going on in the house, and then its tension's going crazy, and then we're like okay with what's going on in the house. So it was kind of like strange to understand where the characters thought would be. But to sum it all up, I'm really impressed by this film, and it's nice to see something serious coming out of Indonesia, and hopefully this will start a new trend over there. I assume you guys have the same feelings as me when you prefer horror movies that are foreign or in a foreign language, for them to play on their folklore and really introduce their own culture into the subject instead of just being, you know, like basic horror movies. I think it's really cool when you see something that's completely different and you learn something while you're watching. I'm gonna give this one a 7. I was gonna give it a 6, and then I was like, I'm back and forth with it a lot. But the thing that sold me was one of the kids towards the end does something, and it just like freaked me out so bad. Anyway, so I don't want to spoil too much, but I want to know what you guys thought of Satan's Slaves. Gromit, what did you think? Okay, jury's out on that one. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for another 31 days of horror. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Let me know if you've been here the whole time, and yeah, give me your score out of 10. I'd love to know. I'm really excited for tomorrow's movie because it's Defan, which I believe is like a stalker fan. I'm pretty sure. I could be completely wrong. I'm very excited. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys then. Stay spooky. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me. Bye.